to the Indie Wrestling Guide with your hosts, the Hall of Fame referee, JHawk, the not-so-mysterious benefactor, Jgold, and the legendary Charly Butters.
Saturday was a super busy day for us. JHawk and I were at the good old Neo Pro Wrestling with our tag match that we had on the show, and it was stellar. I can't wait for everybody to see it. I think it was one of the best matches on the show for sure.
Those guys worked hard. A lot of fun,
and it opens up some possibilities for some things. I mean, there's some stuff I saw that I didn't see before, and it's going to be an interesting couple months here.
How does Shelby work in that tag setting? Did the crowd eat it up? The cowboy stuff?
They loved Shelby and Mikey. They loved them as a team. They pulled a lot of cool stuff out. They came out. Mikey was holding up his belt, and Shelby was trying to hold it as well. And Shelby's he's aching to get a title shot against Mikey for that belt. And after the match, he tried to take the belt again, and Mikey pulled away from him. And I don't know, man.
Oh, shit.
I don't know what's going on with Mikey. Wasn't having it. He wasn't having it. So
listen, if he has to lug that 900-pound belt everywhere he goes, he's hanging on to it as long as possible. He's not letting Shelby.
He said that it's so uncomfortable to try to wear around his waist too, because it doesn't sit right. So he's like, I was holding it like Eddie Guerrero used to hold his belt over the shoulder, and he's like, "You're holding it wrong." I'm like, "No, this is how Eddie held it. This is how I hold it." I was like, "That's because that's how Eddie held it."
Nice, I'll take that. Absolutely.
But
and what about Sid and Zay? Did the fans boo him good?
Oh yeah, they ate up that they were heels. It was really good, man. They got over really well, and I think they might have got themselves a spot at Neo Pro in the tag division. So I'm really happy with them. What
kind of crowd did they have on Saturday?
Real good crowd, actually.
They said that it was 200 pre-sale. So they said if it was 200 pre-sale, they usually have a pretty decent walk-up. So it might have been up to 300 people. I didn't get an exact count. So
good for them, dude. That's good. Good for them.
They do gangbusters in Canton. Brock came out, got to hang out with him. JHawk didn't referee.
Communication, which is fine. Michael Condos refereed the match for it. Did a very good job.
Yeah, I liked him a lot as the referee. And Jared's always got a spot there. He was my helper, my assistant throughout the night, making sure everything went smooth. And he went and got Brock for me and stuff like that, so that I didn't have to leave and miss anything. So
that's good.
While we were going over everything, so JHawk came in handy, and I appreciate it. And he made sure we were represented well there, so I was very happy with him being there.
He's a professional, Butters. That's
absolutely. He's a Hall of Famer, man.
Yeah, the ultimate professional. I wouldn't get it past him. He's the man.
It gave me a chance to actually sit back and watch the show, which I never get to do when I'm actually backstage. So that was nice. Jason and Danny, great hosts.
Yeah, they're just excellent, man. Like, they very much take into that, like, any and all ideas are welcome. They very much want it to be a learning area. They don't play any of the bullshit games. It was a lot of it was really good. Like, I felt very much at home there, sitting with them, getting to learn from them, sitting under their learning tree a little bit. And I can't wait to do more. Like, I'm going to learn how to do camera work. I'm going to learn how to do everything that I can there. So that I know how to do it in the future and I can help out, because I jumped in and helped out when they were getting ready, because they were kind of behind. So it's like a family atmosphere. Everybody's more hands mean less work. So we were just trying to get everything done, and it came off really great. I can't wait for everybody to see it.
That's great. Well, while you were doing that, I ended up not going to Create a Pro. I ended up staying home and setting up shop for the main event mixer, our main event wrestling network pals. It was the guys from Wrestling Junkies, Mr. Cincinnati. I think it was a few guys from Pod on the Mark, the On the Mark podcast. What's his name? Full-time, part-timer, and forgot the man. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I'm terrible, but we had a great time. We did about an hour and change, went over the AEW pay-per-view. Butters, I hope you were proud of me. I was all over it. I was caught up to date on the stories and gave some, intelligent criticism and whatnot, and then it was the most viewed main event mixer they've ever done. So
good.
Yeah, so we got some good hype. They showed the name of the show a bunch. They are very professional guys. Super prepared. The sound is perfect. The video streams perfectly. It was just a lot of fun. I hope they have me back on. Kyle, who runs that whole deal, is the producer, and he gets on sometimes, and he's a great producer. Like he's just on it. He's on it with what he wants to have done. We have like the private chats while they're going in the YouTube and the public chats and all this stuff. Came out really good. So that was a really good Saturday night. Friday night, I went to go see Wicked with my daughter and my wife and all these little girls, and I put on the paint. So I don't want to hear that wrestlers can't wear the paint, because I wore the paint too. And you know what? I sat through a 2.5-hour movie with it. So there's no excuse not to.
And it was a musical too, wasn't it?
Right. I love that. It's one of my favorite musicals. But it's only part one, so 2 hours and 40 minutes is God, something. And we gave my daughter so much candy and shit that at 4:00 in the morning she woke us up and she threw up all over her bed. And I'm like,
oh, Jesus.
Oh yeah. And then my wife started gagging. I'm carrying a blanket full of vomit down to the basement to put into the slop sink. It was a sight to see. But yeah, that was a fun night. It was a good weekend, very mellow. I didn't get a chance to watch the pay-per-view, which I would have liked. I caught it up on Twitter. But there was so much wrestling going on with GCW at the American Dream Mall. And then last night was Bloodsport, which I wanted to go to also. But by the time I looked at tickets, I didn't want to sit in like third row GCW. That is just the smelliest mass of humanity ever. So
Jgold went from going to like 6 shows this weekend to doing none of them and going and seeing Wicked. So that's a life of a father. That sounds about right.
Well, next weekend is AIW, the Survivor Series pay-per-view, and then ETU. So we got a lot of shit going on next week, and I own tickets to all that, so I have to go to everything that weekend.
You're going to fucking Winnipeg for Survivor Series. Bullshit.
No, I'm talking about we're going to watch the pay-per-view on Saturday, but I will be in Ohio on Friday, and then I will be in Ridgefield Park on Sunday. So we're going to cover a lot of ground as far as wrestling goes, catch up and everything.
Yeah, speaking of Ridgefield Park, the promoter of that show will be on in a little bit.
Yes, get ready. Get ready for a struggle session. It's going to be great.
I forgot about Bloodsport until about an hour in and went, oh shit.
Who was that giant Russian dude, JHawk?
Pardon?
Who was the giant Russian dude who was tossing Matt Mikowski around on Bloodsport? I've never seen that guy.
I missed the first hour. Oh, I couldn't tell you. I tuned in right as Dom and Koo were in the ring. And of course, they had the shortest match that I saw of the night, and I was pissed. But dude, it was really goddamn good, but only like 3 minutes.
They had some massive Russian dude last night wrestling Mikowski, and I have never heard of him. I can't even pronounce his name, or he's from Georgia, one of the other countries over there. But he was giant Eastern Bloc, tossing Mikowski around, trying to find his name here. But yeah, that show would have been cool. I kind of wish
saw the finish of Dom and Koo, and that's the only fight I really cared about was Dom and Koo.
What was it, a knee? How did that end?
Dom did that stump pile driver and then locked in a twister submission, which
the
really
twister.
good.
That's right. Yeah. That's
looked
cool.
Real good.
Oh, David Modasminishvili. He's the one who went against Matt Mikowski. So I've never heard of that dude before, and that's that.
Yeah, like I missed the first hour. I tuned in right as Koo and Dom were actually in the ring, like they were doing the introduction when I flipped in.
Yeah. Well, that looked like a fun show. They had a lot of talent on there. I don't know how. I've heard about some of the costs to run at White Eagle, and for that size crowd, it wasn't very big. I don't know, but it's a cool place to be. So there was just so much going on. I heard that the GCW show was boring, though. The one at the American Dream, like the best moment was Ricky Starks coming down the elevator, and that was about it. So who knows?
I don't know. People there that like GCW were having fun with it. That's all that matters.
Expensive tickets.
Yeah, it's still blowing my mind that their entire publicity campaign for the Hammerstein Ballroom show is, yep, we know it sucked last time. It won't this time. Come in.
I don't know. I think they got some interesting stuff they're cooking up for it. So I went to the first one. I enjoyed it. I'll go again. I would go again in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I'm going to Hammerstein for that. I won't go for AEW because I got to get a colonoscopy. But I will go to to the GCW show.
Josh is like, I'd rather have a hose shoved up my ass than watch AEW.
Right. It's my first one. My first hose up my ass for that. So, it is what it is.
I have to get mine done sooner or later, too. I'm right there with you.
Oh, God. I still got a couple years before I got to get mine. So,
yes, you do. But anyway, getting off with something shoved up my ass, I'm going to get a new car tomorrow. And it is going to feel just as bad.
It's going to feel like something was shoved up your ass, and it's not going to be a hose.
I told the girl today on the phone, she called to confirm. I go, listen, this will be my 5th car from your dealership. Every 3 years, I bought a car from them. I go, I want to be in and out. You know exactly what I want. I said, you know how much money I'm willing to spend, which is nothing. It's a lease. I said, so have it ready. I want the paperwork ready. I said, and I want out in under 3 hours. Oh, I promise you'll get out in under 3 hours. I'm like, bullshit. Last time I was at 6.
You're getting a Tesla, right?
No. Even though I'm going to fly my flag on the Tesla, you're
gonna get a Tesla from your buddy Elon,
Right. Yeah. No, I'm just getting a Honda CRV, and because my wife loves that car, and we've had the same one literally every 3 years. So just have it ready. If you guys know that I'm coming, just have the one with the fucking fabric seats and Apple CarPlay, and that's it. I'm driving right off the lot. I want nothing else. I don't need anything else as long as it drives. So whatever. But yeah, so that'll be fun in case anybody cares.
Oh boy. Shout outs, Zach, Andrew, and of course Patty.
Hey, Patty.
Who was checking in on me all last week, which, as soon as I started feeling like something was going on with me, I should have messaged her right away. I didn't think of messaging her until later in the week. And, but we went over everything and she kind of put me at ease, and I started feeling better. I had just a lot of anxiety and stuff last week that just really messed with my head and my body. I forgot that my anxiety can shut things down in my system, and it just sucks.
That does suck.
What'd you get for trying to promote wrestling shows?
It wasn't even wrestling, dude. I was so excited. I was just excited for that. It was just, I thought I was getting sick on Tuesday, and I think that just set me off because I was so upset that I was going to be sick and might have to miss the show. And then I made myself sick mentally from it. So it's just a mess. But the wrestling part of it, the whole drive there, I was just giddy to get there and just have fun. That's just a world to learn and have fun and just hang out with people, and it's just a good feeling. I can't wait again for this Friday. I'm so excited to hang out with at AIW and hang out with all my friends and watch wrestling. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. I needed that. I had a rough week, and then when I went to the White Eagle for that DPW show, everything just felt better. You just get that energy. But I want to say hi to Patty, because Patty, I'm going to see you on Friday. So get ready. Big hugs and photos. Let's do it.
What's on this weekend?
All right. I have on Sunday, December 1st, 3 p.m. Eastern, Defy and Progress present Onslaught Chicago. The lineup so far: Mustafa Ali against Kevin Jet Knight. Luke Jacobs will defend the Progress World title if he defeats Kevin Knight on November 29th. Otherwise, it'll be a non-title matchup. His opponent's not listed here. Cara Noir against Timothy Thatcher.
I can't believe you picked that show and not the AIW show that's on Friday, or so Josh could do the ETU show that's on Sunday.
That's what I'm doing.
I figured you'd do an ETU show, and I figured AIW was too predictable, and I like this lineup.
Too predictable for us to do?
Too predictable that'd be the one we'd pick.
We'll talk about that later anyway.
We're going to talk about it anyway. Who cares?
All right.
Well, you good? Did you say it? I didn't hear the whole thing.
You kept fucking cutting me off. No, I didn't get it through it.
Sorry.
Progress Women's World Title, the winner of the November 29th Rio Jada Steel match against Burt Vixen. The 5 Worldwide Tag Team Champions, Cody Chung and Guillermo Rosas, taking on Los Desperados of Gringo Loco and Aaron's. And the AAW Tag Team Champions, Schaff and Russ Jones, against the Sunshine Machine.
I'll give you a Sunshine Machine. Bend over.
And yes, AIW Friday, Hell on Earth.
Yeah, we were going to just say that anyway, but remember to watch AIW and join the YouTube page. The subscription, $6. You get all the videos, you get all the live streams for free. $14, you get their whole library, and they're adding to it constantly. So if you have that link up, check it out on Twitter or on wherever they are, Blue Sky, whatever, and see what AIW's up to. On the IWTV side, check out our buddy who's coming on today, ETU's 3-year celebration, Expect the Unexpected. That is on Sunday. I believe it's 4 o'clock Eastern, live from the Mecca. We have loser leaves ETU, Yoya versus Braden Toon. Yoya. We got Gabe Sky in a 4-way with 3 mystery opponents. We got Mike Santana versus Desmond Cole. Big Boof. We got Rachel Armstrong versus the returning Becca. We got the Killionaires Club versus Contra. And you're going to see a little bit of Janai Kai in there. Joseph Alexander versus Matt Mikowski, the aforementioned Matt Mikowski who got beat up by that giant Russian dude. We got the Key to the East Championship, Bound by Hate, Marcus Mathers, the champ, versus Brandon Kirk, who has that key, and much, much more. I believe Big Sam's on that card. I believe we got some Ohio guys making some appearances. I know Big PB is in there. You'll see him in the Killionaires Club. So it's a little bit of an AIW/Ohio/New York weekend, just like when you're listening to the Indie Wrestling Guide. Pay attention to that and have some fun and watch ETU.
Well, you're going to be there, so you have to. Now it's your turn to try to talk to Bufa and find out what that means.
I certainly will.
Hopefully, you can possibly.
Why can't we just ask Struggles when he jumps on?
I don't think he knows. I don't think he does. But we also got to find out what Big Sam's doing on that show, because he's on that show. WWE ID Sam Holloway is on that show, but he doesn't know what he's doing, which he messaged me and told me that we have to ask Struggles what he's doing on the show.
I mean,
I guess once he gets in here, we'll ask him. But future dates you need to know about. This Wednesday, when this comes out, 880 Wrestling, November 27th, Pittsburgh, PA. They got a stacked lineup. The Thursday Night Fights title's going to be on the line. Reese Hayes coming back from injury, going after Nick's Wild. Lots more on that show. Gianni Michael Enrico going after the leader of the Hand, Remy LeVay. The tag titles, the System Elite going against the Den of Desire. Shout out to the Den. I love you guys. Hope you win. Your video that you guys released was awesome. I love those shirts. So yeah, and then obviously AIW November 29th, Eastlake, Ohio, stacked card as always. The Beast Mortos is going to be on the show. There's going to be a legend there. JHawk, who's that legend?
Tully Blanchard, 4 Horsemen.
There you go.
They're doing
my
a meet and
brother
greet.
dying to see Tully Blanchard. He keeps saying that's the only one he wants to track down as far as meet and greets. He wants a Tully Blanchard.
I want to meet Mortos, so I'm excited for that.
Yep.
Mortos against Matt Justice. That's going to be sick.
Big Sam and Dijak on that card. That should be fucking sweet.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
I'm assuming that Mortos, Matt Justice, if you're wherever you're standing in that building, they're going to be there. Remember the match? I can't remember if it was Derek and Justice, and they were throwing each other, and Justice caught one under the eye of the chair and everything. Or Kaplan did.
Derek had to clean the blood up from everywhere when that happened.
Yeah,
he got punished. He had to go clean up all the blood because it was all over the place.
Hey, well,
Enrico Sharp helped him anyway because he's just that kind of dude.
Yeah, Razor's a good guy. All right, let's get into this interview.
Doing interviewing.
All right, tonight our guest, the owner of Expect the Unexpected, the voice of No Holds Barred, the voice of GCW at certain points, the voice of many of your favorite wrestling shows, The Struggles.
What up?
How are you?
I'm tired and old and I work with children.
I feel that.
But
I'm
you're punctual.
chilling. Yeah, of course, man. I'm an adult. What the fuck? Of course.
Now you got 2 guys from Long Island on this show tonight, in case anybody cares where it's coming from.
That's right. That's why Jgold did the intro and not Butters. Eat shit, bro.
I thought you were going to have Lewis in there with you tonight. And
come on, I'd rather put my head in the wall. Come on.
I was hoping for Butter's sake he was there, but we just finished hyping up the show on Sunday, the ETU 3 years anniversary, which is which is wild. We did have a request from Big Sam that he asked us to ask you, what the hell's he doing on Sunday?
He's wrestling.
All right, there you go.
You want to know? Do we want to do it right now, or you want to make him wait a little bit?
We can make him wait.
Yeah.
Because this is going to come out early. It's going to come out on Wednesday, so we're not releasing on Thanksgiving. So, but he texted us and was like, "I don't know what we're doing. Tell him I miss him and I love him, but I want to know what I'm doing."
Here, first I'll tell a story about Sam and how he already annoys me, but I love him. So he asked me to do something for him, given his new current situation, whatever, vague, but he said, "Can you text me?" I said, "Yeah, sure." He gives me a number. I text, no answer. Then I proceed to text again, "What's up, dummy?" And no answer. And then he goes, "Oh, I gave you the wrong phone number. It was one number different." And I look like a fool to his cell phone neighbor, apparently. So it's great.
Perfect.
Did they respond?
No, they did not.
Okay, that's
what's up, dummy? What the fuck's up with you?
Yeah, who is this?
Yeah, but nobody answered, thankfully. Well, and
so
then me and Sam did get in touch after,
and we have to have a conversation with him about leaping over the top rope at all the ETU
tell him don't
shows.
Do it every time. Right. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well,
to him versus Cruel, I said no dives. Cruel goes 2. I go 2. One for me, one for him. I was like, bro, no more. It's over. No more.
Two big guys who have no business leaping over the top rope. But
I've seen both of them get hurt. Sam twice.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time he did it. In his debut, no one really caught him, but he wasn't hurt. Then when he wrestled at
Summer Madness. Yeah.
He ate all the shit, and I had to go out there and check on him, which I never, ever do, ever. But you can see me walk ringside, and I was like, "Hey, it's Ryan. Are you okay?" And he's like, yeah, I'm selling. I'm like, "Okay." I saw your head bounce off the floor. I don't know if you're selling or not. He was like, "It was my shoulder." So,
oh, well,
he does different. That. He got headbutted or punched by Isaiah Broner, and Josh is messaging me nonstop. His jaws broke. Look at him. His jaws broke. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm like, probably not. He thinks all right. And he's moving around all right. But Josh is just convinced his jaws broke.
He scared me.
He sold it pretty well. I mean, it got real quiet and everybody was like really freaked out by it at first.
Yeah, so, I saw Cruel do a dive and break his collarbone, same dive. So my head clicked to that.
Yeah.
So I ran out there.
Well, you did good. That was that show was his coming out too. That was an amazing show. So let's get into ETU real quick in case some of our listeners aren't, because we have so many Midwesterners in case they're not familiar. So 3 years. Talk about a little bit about how this started and give us a little bit of the background on ETU for the people who might not be familiar.
Sure. So quick little recap. I started a interview style podcast in 2016. I started to get more and more notable independent wrestlers on that show every Monday night for about, 6 years. I did it and got some notoriety. While doing that, it ended up getting me a job doing commentary at ICW New York before they changed over to No Holds Barred. So my first show ever doing commentary for ICW was December 28th, 2018. Danny wrestled Amazing Red. Some other jabrones were on there. I think Tony Deppen wrestled Jungle Boy. I don't know, whatever. I can't remember at all. But I did that, and that was just off the strength of the show. And I guess Dan D'Amato heard it and was like, "Oh, he's not a complete fucking moron." So, yeah. We ended up doing that, and soon after that is when I got more involved with graphics, videos, helping with the booking and stuff like that. Just basically learning by watching Danny D'Amato make all the mistakes. I just learned how not to do it, and then was like, when I got the itch, it was something that I was going to put into effect. But really, I was a huge fan of Ring of Honor, a huge fan of Jersey All Pro, Evolve, Dragon Gate USA. And when you think about all that and look at ETU, it kind of makes sense. It's basically just my love letter to classic tri-state professional wrestling. And once I felt that I had learned enough from watching Danny do his thing, I was like, maybe I'll give it a go. And here we are, 3 years. Yeah, the first show was on December 3rd, 2021.
You didn't have a partner your first show, or it was just you?
No, Jack Sabbath from ICW fame, owner of the Wrestling Universe. He helped me out with like the first 2 shows, and then just wasn't working out, so we just kept it pushing from there. And then I did everything basically myself for a while, and then around I would say about a year ago, Andrew and Lewis started helping me out with like logistic stuff. Just Andrew's such a huge help with just having another adult in the room who can handle his own. You know, if he needs to hop in a car and pick somebody up, he does it. If he needs to go and pick this up, he goes and does it. If it's just somebody that I don't have to think twice about, that's going to handle business, and that's become incredibly comforting. And he wants to learn. He wants to be a part of it. He's not looking for anything but to, just be on this team and help me grow. And he's been just fantastic to have around. Great dude, great friend. You know that.
Yeah.
And,
in case anybody doesn't know, also who's listening, that's one of our patrons, Andrew. He's Bagelmonger on Twitter. He and Lewis have been, if you've gone to many GCW shows, the two of them are in the front for everything. And we got hooked up through the Pod Van Dam Discord. Andrew and I met, and we figured out we lived close to each other, and we started going to shows together. And he brings, you know what, when I see you guys working together, he brings a legitimacy to certain decision making, which is great. Yeah. And I think sometimes in indie wrestling, it's hard to find that. So it's good that, a couple of good Long Island dudes with their head on their shoulders is good, and it makes for a good product. So
Josh, I like to point out the parallel, the Andrew and I, to what I talked about earlier with Neo Pro.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very parallel there with like him coming in, wanting to learn, wanting to do everything, watching them do all that. It's very much how in the spot I'm in right now with Neo Pro and how I feel with a lot of it. So I like it.
Strug, do you know those guys or no?
No, I thought Butters was going to say bald white guys. I was just like, all right. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I mean, that too. We have a lot. Andrew and I have a lot in common. We're both bald white guys. We both love pro wrestling.
Sure.
But no, I'm not familiar. Where are they based at? They're out of your area in Ohio?
Canton, Ohio.
Okay, that's great.
And they just celebrated, I think it was their second or third year as well. Their second year. So they're a little bit behind you in years, but they have some good stuff.
It seems like there's a solid group in that kind of 2-3 years. I mean, I know Deadlock's about to celebrate 3, and it's great to see people just starting to really not have to lean on those same, I'm not gonna shit on them, but like a CZW, Cage of Death 49, like don't get me wrong, it's awesome, man. Like keep the wheels rolling, but it's cool to see the fans of those people be so impassioned to be able to build something of their own, and that's me, man. I'm a child of just tri-state independent wrestling, and every show that I put forth is just for that same purpose. Is like I want to give you a little bit of everything. I want you to see people you've seen before, but I also want to establish people that you've never seen before. And I want to build a roster and a team that you can understand. Hey, when I go to an ETU show, I know I'm going to see X, Y, and Z. I know I'm going to see this, this, and this. But also you're going to get some storylines sprinkled in there also, just trying to really check all the boxes.
You know what I was going to ask you about? You mentioned, the company's coming to like 2-3 years. So you remember how hot, to be able to launch the IWTV, right? Back in, 2018 or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
And indie wrestling was so hot. And then we had that collective in 2019. And then when COVID hit, it was just a beating, right? So 2021, 2022, it's amazing how it was so hot. And now it's almost like indie wrestling has dug itself back out. of
It took
that
some time.
fucking mess. Yeah, because it took a lot of time. I mean,
Yeah.
we were still going to shows, with 30 people, 40 people. And I feel like now you can go to these shows. And as they said Deadlock, Neo had 300 on Saturday
awesome.
night, and you guys get 300, 350 or whatever. It's, it's good to see people going back to it again. Because if you told me in 2019 that it wouldn't be as hot as it was, and 2 years later, I would have been like, you're nuts. Because it was pistol hot. They started streaming and everything. So, it's interesting to see you guys getting that rub, because you do very well. When you're up at the Mecca, you guys have done very well. The scene just looks good, and it's a good setup. But yeah, that's what I was just kind of thinking about. You think it's time for a little bit of a renaissance, even with those ID contracts and AEW and stuff?
It all depends if people really want to work together, which is kind of like a big problem, is that everybody is in their own universe, when in actuality it should be people trying to work together. I'm always open to I work really well with IWTV. I worked there for a long time doing social media, doing video editing. I had a show on IWTV. So it's just like getting to work with them. It was so easy to be like, hey, can I get a title defense? Hey, can I get a tag title defense? Hey, can I get some buzz from you guys? Hey, can we work together? What can we do? And I feel like some people have gotten away from that work together aspect, and they're just like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and I hope nobody else runs on the same day as me,
Right.
Kind of like that, where in actuality, it's like, I'll run my dates by IWTV and they'll be like, oh, actually, so-and-so's running this day too, or nobody's running that day. And I'll be like, okay, then I'll go for that, because I try to remain flexible so that I'm not butting heads with ICW, or Beyond or whoever. Like, I just want to make sure that my product's being seen no matter when and where. I think me doing the Sundays has really helped me also a good amount, just because a lot of people are available. Either they're on the back end of their trip to the tri-state, or they're trying to finish up there. So it's just it's made things easier, although it's a bit of a grind to get butts and seats sometimes on a Sunday, but we make it work.
If you do it in an afternoon, like this one's on the perfect time. I think if you did it at 8, you'd run into a little bit more of a trouble, because the GCW is still doing 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Oh, that between football too, you got to really watch with football games and stuff. That's hard during football season.
I had no interest in running a Sunday in December, just because, like, I'm a football guy. I watch Red Zone every single Sunday, but it's just like, well, I tripped and fell and ran a Friday in December a couple years ago. So now here we are. This is take kind of what I'm given, and I just make it work for myself. So 4 o'clock should be fine, get you out before the night game.
Yeah. What about Thursdays? You ever think about running shows like more Thursdays, or no?
No, I've never thought of that. I know Wrestling Open does their Thursday deal, and they made it work for them, but it took a long time, a big consistency of just, I think it's been a couple of years of every Thursday, $10 tickets, kind of in a collegey town with a bar right underneath them, a bar right there with them. So it's just like they were able to really just establish something. For me, it's like, how am I going to get these $40 front rows off on a Thursday? Although all I wanted, okay, but you saw what we had to bring, firepower wise, to kind of get 200 people in the building on a Thursday.
Yeah. JHawk.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, you kind of touched on how you got into the promoting aspect of the business earlier, but I know a lot of promoters, they're freaking out on show day. Do you freak out on show day? How do you prepare for a show during the day? Like, what goes through your mind as you're trying to get the show off the ground on the day of?
I'm stressed out big time. I am a stressed out person. That's just it. I also do a little bit too much for my own good. I make all the videos. I make all the graphics you see on screen. Obviously, I book and talk to all the talent. I'm not a locker room meeting guy, so I'll kind of go around and talk to every single wrestler or match pairing individually to kind of just go over like what we have in mind and time frames. And I just try to be really, really a hub of communication because I'm just not that kind of rah, in the locker room going down the card with the whole team staring at me. It's not really my deal. So I'm stressed out. We've had some stuff where it's just like growing in wrestling, working for ICW No Holds Barred, where we were just notorious for things falling apart, flights getting canceled or weather doing this or this person canceled. So I got so used to being able to pivot on a dime, but it doesn't make it any less stressful. You wake up like, I just think of, I wake up on the one show in March and it's like, it's supposed to be Matt Mikowski versus Marcus Mathers, main event, title fight. And Mikowski's like, hey man, I got the flu. I can't make it. And that's at 9 a.m. show day. And I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do now? And that's where you call a hungover Joey Janela. And he shows up and has, a 27-minute fucking classic. When I get there, he's sleeping in the locker room with cowboy boots on. And I'm just like, what are we going to do? But Joey's one of the best. That he's a gamer, and he was able to get it right and get it done. And I'll always book Joey when I need somebody to just hit a home run. He gets a lot of flack and a lot of shit for being maybe a little reckless and a little brash, but man, that guy loves professional wrestling. He works so hard, whether he's in front of 2,000 or 2, he's going to work his ass off always. But yeah, that's, I'm definitely a stressed out guy. On show days, you can ask Andrew or Lewis. Jgold's probably see me walking around with my shoulders up high, looking all stressed out, yelling at people.
That's that towel around your neck, know.
And the face, make sure. The mean face. So
yeah,
the super mean face. Yeah.
But I mean, like how there's no other way to do that. What a ridiculous. When we talk about it all the time, what a ridiculous business this is, right? Like to have to put yourself through that, on. Yeah. You show up, you're in a building that like gives you shit. The talent gives you shit. The fans give you shit. It's like one of the most unrewarding, aspects of being a promoter is having to eat so much shit prior to showtime. And,
I describe it to people as the hardest part of being a promoter is just navigating personalities. It's the hardest part. Dealing with the venue people, dealing with your team, dealing with your roster, dealing with fans, it's just it's really the hardest part, just navigating the personalities. And the messages on show day are just things that I shouldn't have to field, but I do. When do doors open? Man, it's on every post. It's on every post. I promise you, it's on every post. Is like random, is so-and-so on the show? No, they're not announced. They're not on the show. Like, I'm sorry. Like, will they be out signing autographs? I don't fucking know, man. Like, maybe. I don't know. It's their choice. Can I go in the locker room and get an autograph? Absolutely not. Like, it's just
only if you're my sister-in-law and you've had too much to drink. Then you could just wander into the locker room. I
didn't know what was going on.
My favorite one of those is what day is the show on? It's like the biggest thing on there besides the fucking company name.
Yeah. One person was like, I wish I could go to the show, but sadly it's not at the Mecca. And I'm like, it says live from the Mecca pretty big on every poster. I'm like, it's there. And he was like, oh, damn. And then literally I saw a ticket sale pop up. I'm like, motherfucker.
Get you read. Like, God damn it. Yeah. So talk a little bit about your relationship, because you guys have built, Marcus as your champ. Where did this relationship come from as far as, him being such a flagship for you guys? Like, how did that turn into something?
He was a replacement on the first show. He was not supposed to be on the first show. Cole Radrick was supposed to be with the opening match on ETU 1 was Nolo Catano. That's a House of Glory standout. He's one half of their tag champions right now. Ken Broadway, Akira, and then Cole Radrick. That was supposed to be the opening 4-corner survival match, first match ever for ETU Wrestling. Cole the night before was like, hey, I'm having car troubles. I'm not going to make it. I was like, shit. I was talking to Mouse. People should know Mouse, Billy Stark's pops.
Yeah. Butters'
And
buddy.
Uncle Mouse, yeah.
Uncle Mouse, yep. So he was like, "What are you gonna do?" And I'm just like, "Whoever, somebody's gonna show up. You know, that's just kind of how these things work." And he was like, "You should book Marcus Mathers." And I was kind of like, "Man, I don't know, man." Like I wasn't really. I thought his name was stupid, and you know, I only saw him at like H2O, and I was kind of not sold on him. And he was like, "Nah, trust me." I was like, "All right, cool." He was like, "He's right next to me. You want me to book him?" I was like, "Sure, book him." So, kid shows up, super polite, introduce himself, goes out there, has a great match, sticks around, watches the whole show, and I'm like, "Okay, I like that." Then the second show, basically, I knew I wanted him in my title tournament, so we did a gauntlet, and the winner gets into the tournament, the first spot. He ended up getting it in, and then it was time for the tournament, and I was like, "Yeah, I know I want him to go to the finals, but lose to Masha Slamovich." But during the day, I was going back and forth in my brain because I hadn't told either of them, like, "Hey, you're going to win, you're going to lose." Right before, it was like a buffer match. I think it was like Violence is Forever versus Main Event was like a buffer before the finals or something like that. I just went over to him. I was like, "Hey, tonight's not your night, but when it is, I promise I will make it a bigger deal." And he was like, "It's all good, man." He was like, "I'm just happy to be here. Thank you." You know, and he went out there, had a good match. She won. And right when that happened, I knew I had the path in my brain from then to next July to build to Summer Madness, which I wanted to kind of make our like staple event. It's the only event where we do like a part 1, 2, 3 type thing. It'll be the only one. And it's just, I knew what I was going to do. I didn't realize that he would build himself up on his own so much to that point. But that's just a testament to how hard he works and how much he wants it. He's just traveling and doing seminars and going places and doing extra work and setting up rings and just doing everything the right way and he's just a good kid who's just super passionate about professional wrestling. And we built it up to the point where, you know, he won the title at Summer Madness, and he's had it for now, 450 something days later, and 17 title defenses and however much, I don't know, but he's it, man. He's the face of the company. And I call him the unexpected franchise because he wasn't supposed to be this, he wasn't my Ken Griffey Jr. He wasn't my Michael Jordan by any means, but he literally just out of nowhere to be what the company is meant to be,
You kind of made him your Tom Brady by accident. Late round draft pick that ended up killing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck Tom Brady, but yeah, absolutely.
You must have been proud with that ID stuff.
Who? Yeah, of course, man. Yeah. And it was just it's one of those things that we kind of knew it was coming, and it was just a matter of time. And I would just tell him, and I'd be like, "This is the last All I Want," and he'd be like, "Oh, it's that bad?" I said, "Dude, you're not going to be able to do one next year." It's like, "I hope so." And he's kind of like a real like, "Maybe, we'll see, maybe." And I'm just like, "Dude, you're on AEW doing extra work and then getting dark matches. You're doing extra work and taking stunners on SmackDown and this and that. Your matches are getting bigger. You're doing more GCW. You went overseas to Japan, then you went back again." And it's just like, this is what momentum feels like, and I'm like, it's coming. You just have to be ready for it. And then start to hear like the whispers of this, whatever this ID thing is. And he's like, "I'm supposed to get a tryout, or I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do that, and I don't know what's going to happen." And he's like, "It's kind of just all up in the air." And then all of a sudden it all got like situated, and this is what it's settled to be. And, I knew like a few days ahead, but, we just didn't talk about it because it's like, it's not real until it's out there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, cool, man, congratulations. But nothing really happened. It's just, that something's going to happen and cool. But now it's like seeing it posted by them, seeing him and Sam in a promo together.
Yeah.
I was like, so I must be doing something right, because it's two kids that I supremely believe in who are so different, but have the same drive and passion inside of them. It's they're just unfazable, and they just know the end goal, and by hook or crook, they're going to get there by any means necessary. And as soon as I booked Sam once, and I'll tell you this, Bishop didn't fucking say throw him a bone or anything like that. Last Festival, last December, I was doing a thing legitimate, cut a promo, and I'll put you in a fucking match. The most legit shit ever. It was only supposed to be one person. All of a sudden, I start getting all these promos. I got like 30 of them. I was like, I guess I got to make it a 4-way. So then I'm like, fuck, I'm going to make it a 4-way. And then this dude cuts a hell of a fucking promo. But I'm like, man, I can't keep expanding this match, Like, I'm not doing some 8-person gauntlet or some shit and burn my pockets and burn my time slot. So I just said to him, I was like, I don't have the spot that you were looking for, but I will put you in a match just off the strength of what you put forth. And then he went and worked. And from then on out, I was like, if you want to be here, you'll be here. I'll put you where I think you're strong. And, he's a really talented in those 4-ways. And then I knew that I had to get him in there with Cruel eventually. I just knew. So,
and that's IWTV who's saying get him, it's good. You have to clear that kind of match with them though, right? To do that belt or no?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
They could just say, oh, no, we don't want it to be that. So
okay.
I message them and say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. Any issues with it being for the title? And then usually the response is, no problem. But this time the response was, oh boy, because they know. They know the kid's big, tall, athletic, and it's going to garner some attention. So, and it did. It was a fantastic match.
And let me ask you, did you ever take any bumps, or did you go to wrestling school or no?
Absolutely not. Fuck that
shit. Wife man.
Well, I mean, you're very learned in the, you know so much about it. You're mentors to a lot of these younger guys.
Sure.
So, without taking a bump, it's very impressive to kind of know what you're seeing out there.
I have no interest. They all wanted me to take light tubes in ICW. I'm like, no thanks. I have no interest in that. Yeah, no, maybe back in the day I had interest in it when I was younger, but I'm 40, I've been in wrestling, the business of wrestling, since 2018, 2017. So it's just like I was still cooked by then anyway. So no interest. I've barely been into a wrestling ring. I've never even gotten into an ETU wrestling ring. I'm like, it's not where I need to be. I don't belong there. I think
so. Who's checking the ropes and such?
Everybody else.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I'm trying to figure out who's doing who's responsible.
You have to delegate some of this shit, Jgold. You can't do it all.
Right. Putting you in there and just let Marcus fucking beat up on you.
Doesn't seem very smart. All right. JHawk, you got Butters? Did I jump you? I got a ton more whenever you guys want to do your thing.
Keep going, Josh.
You know what? I had 2 questions and he answered both of them on one question. So I'm going to just let you roll with it, Jgold. If I need to chime in, I'll chime in.
All right.
He told me no on Twitter already to my questions, so you can just keep going.
Did I? I'll answer it.
Is it the belt question?
I'm not worried about any belts or anything like that. I want I miss the t-shirts that you used to do is what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, let's talk about that. So I guess around when I started to do the podcast 2016, I started to put out just t-shirts, wrestling t-shirts that I wanted to see. First one I ever put out, it was like Jushin Thunder Liger meets Batman in the Animated Series. And I didn't really think that it was going to pop off the way it did, but I ended up selling The first wave, I did 250. I sold, and then the second one, another 125. So I sold a fuck ton of those shirts. And this is before I even really understood the process. So I was writing everybody's name out on these mailer bags and just really figuring it all out. And then I was like, man, maybe there's something here. And then I started to do more and do more. And I can't even remember the last time I put a shirt out, but I probably put out 20, something like that.
Were they just original designs, or were you making them for people?
They're all original designs. Like the first one, like I said, was Batman the Animated Series Liger, and then the second one was a Two-Face Muda split down the middle, and it was like old Muda on one side and then his younger persona on the other, trying to keep that like Batman vibe going on. So it was like themes of like stuff I enjoyed. I did a Kenta Kobashi, but it looked like Super Mario with a burning hammer. So like stuff like that. I'll have to show you some, Jgold. But yeah, they were super profitable. I did really well with them, but it just became a lot of work. And I was, working a 9 to 5 and then doing this and having the podcast and doing this and doing that, packing 250 shirts off the rip, every single drop. It got to be a lot of work. And then, for me, it's like I get caught up doing other things. I got really passionate about doing commentary. I started traveling a lot. The podcast got really popular. I ended up quitting my job and just doing wrestling for like 3-4 years, where it was just sustainable for me to do all of that. But it's like you go from 9 to 5 and having a hobby to just 24/7 nonstop. And I got burnt out. So partial, the collateral damage to the burnout was the podcast and the t-shirts. So sorry, Butters.
I still have a couple. I have the championship edition Muda that I loved. It's a 3X, so I don't wear it often because I'm a 4X at this point. So if I start losing some weight here, I can get back into it.
Feel that.
But I also, I'm trying to think, there was other ones that I wanted. There was a Super Dragon one I really liked that I didn't buy. There was a Shibata one that I really liked that I didn't buy.
Sure.
But there was a couple that I did buy that I really liked, and I always thought the struggle shirts were always like the best shirts. Like when I first started getting into like shirts that weren't like from the main companies, like you had like the best ones of all the companies. Now like you got like people like Stash Pages putting out all kinds of crazy stuff now that I love. Yeah, he does his mystery. He's got his mystery box coming out again, and I did it last year. Loved it. Doing this one this year. I can't wait to see what he's got. And
he's got the Team Angle velour tracksuits.
Yeah, he's got those coming.
I think I might have to get one of those.
Did the fucking Billy Gunn shorts? I love the Billy Gunn short. I bought a pair of those. My grandma thinks it's the funniest shit.
I got the Sting, both the Sting in green and the Sting in pink. All my fanny packs from them. Their stuff is really good. Strug, where'd you get your quality? Like who was the shirts from? Like how'd you figure that out?
So before I got into wrestling at all, I was working in screen printing. So I have background in like graphic design and stuff like that. So I was working in screen printing. So I had some hookups in that area. So I basically knew the connects. I also knew how to design for screen printing, which would then make it a little more cost effective, and also make sure the quality of the shirts are higher due to keeping the colors blocked properly, that when they get washed, they don't stretch or break or anything like that. So I kind of had it figured out, a little leg up than most people would. But then I ended up getting a job doing design work and production at a sign shop, like doing car wraps and stuff like that. So then I had, a different type of design that I started to work on, which is more of like what you see on posters or stuff like that, or more intense graphics with no color limits and stuff like that. So, but it was just basically having the knowledge beforehand on just knowing on the process. A lot of people don't realize the shirt process nowadays, because there's like DTG printing, which means direct to garment. That's what Pro Wrestling Tees does. Absolute dog shit.
Dog shit.
Yeah. There you go.
Fucking dog shit. Yes.
It's funny because when I was working in screen printing, we would go to these conventions with different processes and different tools and technology, and they were pushing DTG. And I would say, how many washes before this falls apart? And they'd be like, oh, maybe like 7 to 10. 7 to 10? That's insane. When you get a well printed, screen printed shirt, we're talking hundreds of washes.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you think you go and find vintage band t-shirts that have like that kind of broken up patina, but they still look badass because it's properly done, screen printed, that's hung in there for 40 years.
Yeah.
And hundreds of washes. Meanwhile, God forbid, all the Flip Gordon shirts are going to be destroyed in 7 to 10 washes.
Oh, shit. A good Flip Gordon reference. I like that.
Fuck that guy.
Well,
wait. I have a funny story that you'll enjoy.
Okay.
About Flip Gordon. So, Collective 2019, that was the year New Japan and Ring of Honor ran Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
I went to the show, and me and my friends are sitting there. I hate Flip Gordon, obviously, if you didn't get that. So he comes out, and I start to boo, and a small child sitting directly in front of me turns around and says, "That's my uncle." And like the parents snap around, and they're like, "Yeah, that's my brother." And I just look at dead in the kid's eyes, and I go, "Your uncle sucks." and they didn't say anything else.
Oh my God.
Fantastic.
Dude, that reminds me of like wrestling in 2011, 2012 when they went to the PG era, and I went with my buddy to the Garden, and we were like, we were out of college, 10 years, and we're like we got hammered, and we're cursing, and we look around, and there's just kids everywhere, and somebody looks at me and he goes, "You can't do that anymore." And I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, you're right. I can't do this anymore. Like it changed the entire landscape.
What happened to your hustle, loyalty, and respect?
Yeah, well, because I didn't realize there were so many kids. I thought we were still, 2010, 2011, I thought we were still rocking, like, nope, it was over.
Nope.
The wave has crested and it is all gone.
Yes, correct.
Let me ask you about the tag team titles, by the way, because you have the largest and best looking tag belts right now.
So dumb.
What's the vision right now? What do you got for as far as when you want to roll that out? What are you looking at as far as the tag team landscape? Because I got a few that I'm going to recommend, but I'm just interested in what you're thinking of how you want that to play out.
So we're gonna do a proper unveil to the public of the titles on Sunday.
Nice.
So you can see them in person. You'll see how stupid heavy they are. They're about 18.2 pounds each.
It's even heavier than our belt. Damn.
So dumb. Super dumb. I don't know why the Key to the East title is 13 pounds, which was already heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, they came in when the package was coming to me, it was like 40 pounds. I was like, well, they overshot it just for, postage sake. And they got here and I was like, ooh, no. Oh, no. And I legit just put them both on the scale and it was like 36.4. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And so the plan is to unveil them at the anniversary show on Sunday. And then we're going to have a tournament in early 2025. And the structure will be the same as our title tournament, which was the third show. I guess that was in September 22. So 10 teams. And one of the matches will be like a 4-corner survival deal. And then the other ones will just be standard singles. But it'll be 10 teams vying for the championships.
You're going to do it all in one night?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I'm broke.
I love a good one-night tournament. I'm happy to hear that.
I'm glad to hear that too. We'll probably have to get the whole IWGuide crew out for that one.
Yeah.
Even though I do think Derek and Katie or PB and or the Killionaires are going to look real good with those tag belts, but
throwing those names out there. There's only one tag team that I can think of that's for sure going to hold them at some point in time.
Ooh.
That's just violence is forever, motherfucker.
I do love them very much. I do.
Hey, I'm just pushing my pal Derek. I think I think he belongs up here in the East as well. So, I know you get 10 teams. That's a lot though. I mean, I'm assuming you have, your favorites over here as far as the East Coast crews go. So,
Sure.
you
got to mix it up though. You got to.
Yeah.
Don't get me of course, the Killionaires have been on an absolute heater.
Mm-hmm.
I can't dispute that at all. And although they're fucking difficult to deal with, Jay Bougie is a wild card and a half.
But you guys are like one of the only indie companies that book PB the right way. I feel like sometimes they lose track of him, and I think you guys book him right in ETU. I think people respect that.
The first thing I said to him was, because I known him a long time, and that's a big problem. Not problem, but it can be difficult when you know people and then you become friendly, and then you start to run a promotion. It's like, well, when are you going to book me? You going to book me? We're friends. We're going to book me? And I would always tell him, I'm like, when the right situation comes, I will get you in there. And that's what the Killionaires Club was. It was the right situation. And I remember the conversation we had on the first day. Well, what do you want from me? And I was like, I need you to hit a motherfucker. Hit him. Be big. Hit hard. That's it. You don't need to be fucking bumping around, doing dives. I don't give a fuck. Be big, be tall, hit people. And he was like, you got it. And he's been doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's booked very well at those at those shows. But yeah, you guys have that opportunity. I mean, and the belts mean more, all your title defenses with Marcus mean more because you don't do as many shows. Sure. So you don't run into like burnout. Yeah. So it would be nice to see like 2 tag matches down the line every show, so that something leads up to something else, that's a cool opportunity for you guys.
I was going to say that's what's going to end up becoming, something to that effect.
Yeah. I had one more for you before we move a little bit more. JHawk, Butters, you got anything else?
Keep going. I'm enjoying. Yeah, I'm not to say much. I'm enjoying what I'm hearing. So
yeah, I'm more like I like to. I mean, I get so much out of struggles when we go to shows together. So I don't always
hang out. Yeah.
And I don't. Oh, let me ask you. Do you know who that Russian dude was who wrestled on that show, on the Bloodsport show last night against Mikowski?
No, sir.
You didn't see that guy?
Oh, I saw it. I didn't know who he was though.
Oh, okay. I wanted to make sure because JHawk didn't know either, and he's my go-to for that stuff. So
fantastic though.
I never seen that. Yeah, what a monster! I don't know where they find these guys.
He's like a legit shooter though. Like that's not like the next pro wrestler. Like no,
he threw Mikowski like out of the ring.
But that's why he has to wrestle somebody like a Mikowski who understands that boundary. It's why you see Mikowski has kind of wrestled or fought in Bloodsport against those on the fringe guys like Eric Hammer or can't even pronounce his name. It's the reason he gets those guys is because he knows how to bridge that gap, and he is so well versed that he can protect himself properly. Like that double leg takedown. That's just a double leg. That's real.
He hit it so fast. Yeah. Now that's what I was going to ask you. So talk to us a little bit. So, Butters is learning now about things, with Neo Pro and booking a couple of guys here and there, but you being in this so long, some of the buildings are starting to change, right? Like as far as what is the general consensus? And especially here, because I already know we hear from Thorne on his podcast about how hard it is to find venues. And, what's the consensus for you and and Danny and all the guys who are looking for shows right now? What's the consensus about buildings? I mean, it's impossible to run in New York, right? Like besides going out to Remarkable or something.
So I'll give you the whole rundown on New York. So basically the standards and what you have to comply for the athletic commission is so high that it just makes it basically impossible to even cover your ass. So if you're looking to run the state of New York in any way, shape, or form, you have to either have a promoter's license or use somebody's promoter's license, which more likely than not, that person is going to charge you to use their promoter's license. You get it? It's like a 3-year waiting list to get one. So when people have them, it's valuable and they get value out of it. So that's one thing. You got to find somebody who's either willing to let you use their license or rent you their license for the evening. Got it. Then you have to have guardrails or some sort of separator. I already do the guardrails just for an aesthetic kind of thing for me. Like I said, Jersey All Pro ROH guy. I love guardrails. I'll probably end up having to let them go one day. But because nobody gives a shit but me. But so you have those restrictions. Then you have to have a certain type of insurance, which is like an MMA insurance that they ask for in the state of New York, which is kind of ridiculous. It's not MMA.
Well, they have to deregulate wrestling anyway. I mean, one day it'll happen, but not anytime soon. But
so you have to have that type of MMA insurance. Then on top of that, you have to have a ambulance EMT on site, which you have to pay for. You have to have a doctor on site, which you have to pay for. So then you have to book venue. On top of that, everything combined, you're probably looking at like $3,000-$4,000 before you even book a person. And it's just like, how am I supposed to do that? And
gouge the hell out of people with ticket prices, right?
Well, that's what Creative Pro does. I mean, $60-$70 for front row seats for an indie show is outrageous, but
but you got to think about
what do you do? What do you do to make up for that? I mean, you've been around for a while, and even running those shows at Ultimate Fitness and Elmcore, was that a loss to book shows there? I mean, ICW was there, right? A bunch, and you were there. Like, is that running at a loss if you're booking at a place like that? How do they manage that?
I can't really divulge how, but they were making money on concessions at those shows, whether it was T-shirts and whatnot, signings, drinks. Definitely not. They weren't serving alcohol at all. So, not at all.
Right.
Yeah, right. So that's basically how they were getting it done there, was that.
So what do you see for you guys? Like, I know the Mecca has changed their views a little bit and their different things. Where else do you think you'd want to run? What do you think is a what's the term? Like, what's a reasonable place that you think you can, and not just like Williamstown, that's so far. Like, for you guys, for this area, what are you looking at?
I don't view Williamstown happening again for us, just because I don't know what's happening down there, if they're looking to do a full revamp or close or whatever. I'm not entirely sure, but I just was never a fan of it for ETU. It's too deep. It's too far. I think, I'm a Long Island guy. That doesn't mean my product is Long Island sought after. It's not, but it's a North Jersey product. I like to think that we're more of a North Jersey crowd. We've had trouble drawing at those shows. The only time I did them was really out of necessity. The first time we ran at H2O, we were supposed to run at Hart Ballroom, but they had double booked, and we caught the L on that one. So we had to move. So that was a concession. Then the next time we ran there was Mania weekend, where I get dropped the Dragon Gate roster in my lap. Like, hey, what's up? Do you want to do this? We've been talking about it for 2 years. Do you want to do it? What am I going to say? No. So I call Matt Tremont and make it happen. And then all I want is all I want. The kid draws there. So that's it. But ideally, I wouldn't want to be there just for the sheer distance. That's it.
Well, what do you think about the place they ran Arrival at the other day?
I got a quote. If that makes you feel better. It was good. Yeah. It was nice. It was
it looked good. Visually, it looked good.
Yeah, it was in a good area. You would like it. We would have a good time there, like going to a wrestling show. We'd grab good food. There's great food right in the area, walking distance. We should, when they run a good show there, we should all go, just because it's like a spot that we would like. I got a price point on it, and it's just one of those things we got to crunch the numbers on. That's all.
So what what would you envision doing? Let's say if the Mecca couldn't do a weekend and you needed it, where right now do you say to yourself, okay, I would run
one. Williams Center is one.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew's gonna get mad when I say this. White Eagle Hall is not as unviable as some people might think. NYWC in Long Island is very viable, but it would have to be the right setting, the right time of year with the right talent in order to pull, that Long Island kind of.
Right. The weather would have to be right to get out. No one's going to want to drive the LIE out there.
And I'm not going to do summertime there because it's just, it'll kick your ass, that building. I used to do commentary for Remarkable all the time there. And it's just, when it's hot, it's hot. When it's cold, it's cold. And when you catch it on the right, kind of either maybe May or September, it's kind of nice. Then you're like, oh, this isn't bad.
I remember seeing Evolve out there with Gargano and Zack Sabre Jr. and all those guys, Drew Galloway at the time, and it was a nice. Joey Styles was the special guest.
Yeah,
that was a nice. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. Yeah,
yeah. But I think I could put something together. Obviously, I'm from Long Island, and Andrew's from there too, and we see that the scene is light out here, and the reason for it is just all of the hoops that you have to jump through. It's hard. I mean, I laid it all out. It's really hard. The Elks Lodge in Queens is viable also. I don't love it there, but it's viable, so
without the band, it's much better.
Don't do this.
Heavy metal wrestling, people. That was something.
You want to start your show with a 20-minute band set?
A metal band just screaming at people.
Hey. I mean, WCW ended the pay-per-view with a 30-minute country concert one time.
Listen, I would have taken country, JHawk. I don't know if you even remember that show. It was last summer or last spring. It was at who was that? Was that Violence and Suffering?
Yes,
at the time. And they opened up with a fucking band. I mean, come on. It wasn't even a good band. It was a metal band. My fucking old body can't sit through that. It was just, everybody was on top of each other, and it was just, oh, well, we know we won't do that again.
Yeah.
But
it could have been work. Could have been a Kid Rock concert halfway through the show.
Again, I wouldn't have minded that either. That band was just killing me. It was fucking.
That band must have been bad if you're like, I'd rather listen to Kid Rock over this shit.
I just wanted to start the show. I was like, we all climbed into this place. Yeah, just start the fucking show. You have a great card. We was on there. There was a bunch of good. And Leo Rush was on against Ares, wrestle. I don't need the band, but now they're doing Arrival, and it got some good buzz, so that's good. Good for Isaac and that crew. Butters, JHawk, what do you got as we wrap this up? We're almost up to an hour.
I honestly, I had two big questions. Can answer both of them in one shot for me, so I really don't have anything. One question I do have is about the New York Commission. Do they still have the curfew? You have to be out of the building by a certain time?
Yeah, 11.
Wow.
Yeah. Same thing with concerts and everything, 11.
That's insane.
Yeah, they give you a 30-minute buffer, but then after that, it's get in trouble.
That was the same issue during Mania Week for the Collective, when the reason why Thorne couldn't start the show after 12, they had to start it at 11 because they need to get everyone out by 2, I think, and they just weren't gonna. They gave them the curfew thing and everything else, and who knows? But I never understood that. If you're running a venue, what does it matter? I get, unless it's union guys only. If you're running the NYCW, whatever there's no union guys running in there. What's the problem? I don't know. It's always going to be an issue, and they're going to give wrestlers and promoters shit anyway until New York deregulates it.
I bring up the curfew because I watch all that old WWF stuff in the Garden, and there'd be a 4-minute final match because they'd be out of the building by 11 o'clock. Yep. Ridiculous.
100%. Still that way. At the last the GCW Hammerstein show, remember that main event was Briscoes and Gage and Tremont? It's 6 minutes long because
they had to rush out of the building.
Yep.
Oh, that was some show. Butters, that was some show.
Yeah, that was a good time, man.
We're all going to go again, though. We're doing it again. Butters and I might do it again.
I'm thinking about it. I kind of was holding out to be my only time going to New York next year was going to be if I was going to go to an ETU show or Jersey. as my only time I was going to head out that way, because it's just I don't want to have to get a flight and find a place to stay, which worked out really great last time. We had a really great host to where to stay, and the flight wasn't terribly expensive because it was during COVID, so shit was cheap.
Mm-hmm.
This time, I don't think it logistically would work on one end. I mean, I could probably stay with you, but do I really want to stay with you, Jgold? I don't know.
I mean, you could do worse, Butters. Jesus.
But no, I was talking with Mikey,
with
and
Lewis.
we were talking about some of us want to go out for a trip. I know our buddy Toddy Tondera that does commentary is looking to head out that way and do some stuff. So maybe depending on who's running out that way, we'll all road trip out there. So
yeah, dig it. So
I do want to come to an ETU show. Like I was really bummed I didn't get to go to the one this summer, Summer Madness. I was really looking forward to it. Oh, I know what we could ask you about because nobody will give us a straight answer.
I will.
Big Boofa. What is a Boofa? What is Boofa?
It is him.
It is him.
Yeah.
But what does it mean?
I just he embodies it.
He embodies it.
He is the Boofa.
He is
I'm gonna get an interview on Sunday.
Know either.
I'm gonna get an interview on Sunday. I'm gonna get a quick one hitter with him and be like, for the podcast.
I just need to know. I think I know what it is, but I just want to confirm. What really makes me mad is that I had to do stuff with Derek out in the parking lot with the belt and stuff, so that I couldn't go and ask him after the show when I saw him at Unsanctioned because he was really good at Unsanctioned. I was really happy I got to see him live.
They love him at ETU. You could see him all the time at ETU.
Awesome. Yeah, and Braden Toon. I really like Braden Toon, so I want to see him.
Here's something fun. We almost ran Unsanctioned versus ETU in September, but we didn't do it because I didn't want to run 2 shows in 5 days because that's when All I Want ended up being. So remember they did Paradigm versus Unsanctioned in September.
Mm-hmm.
That was originally supposed to be ETU versus Unsanctioned Pro.
Oh, that would have been something. East versus the central of the country.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, that'd have been cool.
Oh.
Yeah, still possible. I talk to Derek all the time. Great people, great product. I've known him for a long time. So very, very viable that's something that could happen. You know, I'm not saying we're going to do some wild super card, but, you know, maybe we couple cars come out there and, you know, a little 7-match series.
That would be cool.
I'd be down to drive back down to Columbus for that. It's like a 3-hour drive for me, but I'd do it.
We need more of that. Then, as you mentioned, and to bring it back full circle, Strokes, you said that in the beginning. We need more companies like kind of working together and kind of making that kind of those cards happen.
I'm very open to it, man. It just has to work for everybody involved. You know, let's just like working with Dragon Gate, super easy. Anytime so basically my hookup with them is through Ho Ho Loon. And he will just, I said to him, hey, man, if you ever have anybody in town, tell me. Because they bring a lot of the young kids over for excursion to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to Mexico, they go to Florida, they go here, they go there. And I'm just like, keep me in the loop, man. So then it turned into, I booked SB Kento and La Estrella in their first ever matches in America. Then I got their tag team champions, Natural Vibes against SAT. And then we had kept talking about this versus show. I was like, he told me 6 people were coming over. And I was like, let me know. We'll do a versus. And then Mania comes. I had no plan. And he messaged me and he goes, hey, 8 of us are coming. What's up? Are you running? I'm like, no, but I can be. I was like, run me the numbers. You know, I will do I'll do it if it makes sense, you know? And we ran the numbers. And I text Andrew and I was like, hey, you don't have to be on board for this. You can tell me I'm crazy, but I have this attachment to Dragon Gate Pro Wrestling from watching them in the Ring of Honor, from watching Dragon Gate USA, just had this connection to it. And I mean, look at our belt. It's patterned after a Dragon Gate belt. The key system patterned after Dragon Gate, you know? So it's a lot of inspiration there. So I'm like, and Andrew is a numbers person. Show me, put it, as he would say, put it in a spreadsheet. And I did. And he was like, this isn't crazy. it's crazy because it's last minute. It's crazy because we're just throwing our name into the hat for WrestleMania with 6 weeks to pump it. But he's like, numbers wise, this is not crazy, and it wasn't. And we didn't lose any money. So that was cool.
And you had a ton of names, man, to have Ultimo Dragon. And I always find it wild that Japan sends their young guys over here. And some of their first experiences in our country is wrestling in front of like 50 people in the Mecca. Like out of nowhere that you see. I forgot what that girl's, the one who does the crazy kicks, who ended up on a JCW card, like out of nowhere on like a July afternoon. What the hell is her name?
There was Jungle Kiona was one.
No, the other one, the one who dark hair like up to her shoulders, but she throws kicks. Like that's her thing. Like she throws these really heavy switch kicks.
She's in Stardom. Yeah. I forget.
And she came, but the fact that I saw her like with my kid in the middle of July,
Masha and Lindsay Snow or something like that.
Yes, yeah. And I was like, where'd they get this? Like they come out and they have wonderful gear and everything, and they're stepping on the yucky floor of the Mecca, and you're like, wow, well, that is some first experience, right?
Yeah,
like
it's tough, man. It's like for me having some bigger names come to the Mecca, like on the first show ever, like Bronson Reed's on our first show, and back to Butters talking about the shirts. That's how me and Bronson Reed became friends. He would buy every single one of the shirts that I put out. So then once I started pumping ETU, he goes, "What is this?" I go, it's my company. I'm going to run a show. And he's like, "Cool. Can I be on it?" And I thought he was joking. I was like, "Yeah, no." And he was like, "I'll do it." And that's another connection back to the shirts. The reason me and Mike Santana are good friends is Mike bought every single shirt that I put out since 2016. He has all of them. And that's why the minute he was able to be here and be back and healthy, it was a matter of time. He literally walked through the front door and walked right into the ring and called out Homicide literally a year ago, and has been a heater ever since. But we have known each other for all these years, for almost 10 years, just because of T-shirts and talking about sneakers.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Was that through like Twitter? Like how did they get hooked? How'd you get hooked up with something like that? Instagram.
Instagram. That's why my following on Instagram is just way higher than anywhere else. Like my Twitter is whatever, 3,000, something like that. But my IG is like 37,000, something like that.
Holy shit. Yeah. That's something. Instagram is an interesting place. You're either using it for business or you have like private family stuff or there's just boobs everywhere. That's like, that's all like
food pics.
Right.
Food pics.
I wouldn't know anything about the boobs everywhere, but the other stuff is where I go for all my sneakers and whatnot. Yes.
Well, I think we made Sam wait long enough. If you would like to announce what he is doing on the show.
Okay. So Hardway Sam Holloway is going to be in a 4-corner survival match against what I just announced today. Northeast standout from New Japan Dojo, Seabass Finn versus Evil Gay Aaron Rourke.
Oh shit!
Versus Gabriel Sky.
So you got 2 WWE ID guys in that match, and then a third with your champ. Wow, you got a lot of talent coming into this one. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's the plan. 4-corner survival with Gabe Sky and Seabass Finn making his debut, kind of getting thrown into a little bit of the deep water there. But
I've never heard of that dude. I thought you were making something up when I saw it online.
No.
I was like, what the hell's this?
A little background. So New England Pro Academy, trained by like Brian Fury and Dijak and all them. So then he went to the New Japan Dojo and trained out there. He just had a match when they were at the New Japan in Lowell, Massachusetts, just recently, like a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Mm-hmm. He got a match on that show. He had a great match against Dijak on Wrestling Open. And then what really opened my eyes is that probably the last like 4 or 5 ETU shows, he just comes and helps out. He says, "Hey, do you mind if I come and help out?" He doesn't say, "Hey, book me," or anything like that. He comes, He helps with the ring or setting up tables or setting up chairs. And he's just super appreciative. And then once I saw a couple matches, mostly I saw at Limitless Wrestling, he wrestled Joseph Alexander A-Game at their last show. And it was fantastic. So when I had an opening in this four-way, because this opening, the four-way spot, I'll just say it, it was supposed to be for Dex Royal, but I know that he is still trying to heal up from a pretty nasty injury just recently. So I just wanted to cycle in somebody that I've seen at shows showing effort, even though it might not seem like I'm watching. I'm very, very cognizant of what's going on and who's helping. That's how somebody like Jay Bougie got a spot. Bougie showed up like 3 shows in a row and helped set up and break down the ring, and introduced himself every single time and stood around and did anything he could to help and make things run smoother. And I noticed that shit. So
that's wild.
The shot.
Wow, you really do. It's amazing how your mentality is very old school. It's amazing how the business is still run like that, where you come, you set up, and if you do enough, someone might go, "You got your gear here with you," and you might get in.
It happens all the time. It really does happen. And somebody like A-Game, Joseph Alexander, he came and helped out, and I think he drove Bougie to a show in a pinch where he couldn't get there. Something was wrong with his car, and he, was like, "I'll get him there," and got him there. And I was just like, I didn't want to put him in the 4-ways at the Rey del Estilo because I just didn't think he was a 4-way guy. But that doesn't mean he didn't earn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're a 4-way guy doesn't mean I need to prolong getting you in the mix. You earned it. He worked hard. And I told him, I was like, I know you do that nasty deadlift German. I said, hit that on Sam clean. And if it gets over the way that I think it will get over, then we're off to the races. And that's why it did. It got over big. People loved it. People were blown away by it. And he gets Mikowski on the next show. That was the match that I had in my head because stylistically, it's what makes sense to me. But we put him in the 4-way, which wasn't really his deal. And I was like, if this is the spot for you to get over with. If it hits the way it hits, then we're off to the races. So we are.
That's an interesting way to think.
And now what are you watching anything to try to come up with new talent?
Yeah, I watch a ton of wrestling. Limitless is kind of like what I'm watching because it's attainable to me. I look at them and they've been going for, I think, 7 or 8 years. And they kind of sell out their one room, which is probably like 300 plus every show. They have great production, great graphics, and they use some local talent, but also have some, fly-in talent from here and there sometimes. So I watch that a lot. I watch a lot of IWTV. I'll tune into a Wrestling Open if Marcus is on. Basically, I'll watch anything the kid's on. I want to support him. So I'm watching, and he's everywhere, So, but basically, I would say I watch Unsanctioned Pro, obviously not on IWTV, but I watch them. If you can't tell, I have a little influence. I watch a little bit of AIW. I listen a little bit to some of Jgold's suggestions from here and there. But
Go figure.
Yeah, I mean, if you make a good point and a good sales pitch, I'm listening. But I also, I'll tell you no real fast. Also, so I have no problem where I'll be like, yeah, absolutely not. Or I'll be like, like when we brought up Dillinger and you brought up, oh, let's put a car together, and you'd be like, oh, Sam and Josh and blah blah. What? Now we're starting to make perfect fucking sense. And then I'm on board with you. But if somebody's like, hey, book my friend, I'm like, hey, fuck off. But when you put it together and it make it make sense, I'm with it,
Yeah. Hey, if you ever need a referee, JHawk is a Hall of Famer.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, I wanna come out, and I know, like, we've had some discussions about our title on your shows, and that's not something you're interested in, and that's fine with me. It's not for every promotion, so but I think that there's definitely something worthwhile with our current guy. So I like to see him eventually head out there.
But I'll keep it completely honest with you. I'm open to collaboration, but when it comes to something like that, it's a little bit more difficult because I think that if I bring him in, he's not established at ETU at all. If I bring him in with a title that people are unfamiliar of, it just seems like it's either a paid for match, which I don't love the aesthetic of, or he's definitely not going to lose. And also, I'm not in favor of that either. You know, like, I know that Smooth is the NWA Exodus Midwest Cleveland nonsense champion. No, it's not nonsense. But he's like, "Can I bring the belt out?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because if you bring the belt out, they know that you're not going to lose.
Right?
You're not going to lose." And I need people to invest in what we're trying to build here, and it's not a knock on what you're doing, and it would be disrespectful if you brought it out and lost,
right?
Because if somebody were to do that to one of my titles, I would feel a little bit slighted, and I would feel like the performer should know better to just leave it in the back. It's not really that big a deal. Bring it out and take pictures with the fans later. It's cool. It's a prop for a reason. You know what I mean?
Well, so to me, I'm not even like, he could lose the belt tomorrow and he's still my guy that I would say, you need to look at this guy. You need to give him a shot. He, I think, embodies a lot. Like I really looked at like how Marcus has come around and how he's come about from like way back when. Sure. And I've looked at a lot of stuff and I think that he is in that same realm. He just hasn't had the opportunities because he's been working for specifically AIW. He's been doing a lot of great stuff at Enjoy. And I think that's opened a big base because they're free on YouTube every week. So you can see him have these matches and like, he is an amazing underdog. So it's like, I personally don't care about the belt being there or being, that can be for down the road. I want him to get out and see other places and make a name for himself and get a bigger name. My goal is to make him as big as possible. My belt is a secondary thing. That's just a thing for us to kind of have fun with on our side.
Understood.
But like, that's what I wanted to do with Derek, and he kind of did his tag team thing. So then it was hard for us to kind of like push to get him places. But like any place that I had, ties to, like Josh, we talked about it. We're like, yes, he should go to work ETU. He should definitely be there. Like he fits there. And I think the same thing with Mikey. I think Mikey fits in a lot of places. And I think there's a lot of interesting matchups to be had there. And win, lose, or draw, I think he would get over super huge with that crowd.
I don't doubt it. I'll definitely be on the radar to check out more of his stuff. I've seen him wrestle before. I watch enough AIW. I think I've seen him versus, do you wrestle Bishop?
He's wrestled a ton of different guys. I mean, they were the tag champs for a while, him and Eric Taylor and things like that. So you've probably seen him wrestle. Yeah, definitely against guys like that before. But yeah, I get it. That's a completely understandable way to look at it. I don't always see it that way. I'm not always like, I'm more fan side where I'm like, okay, this is cool, and it is what it is. But it makes more sense when somebody like you are like, here, let me lay it out for you. And let me tell you why this doesn't work. But
yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem taking, getting no as an answer because like, obviously like getting this off the ground, like was a weird concept to begin with. And, Derek assured me like, no, it'll be all right. Like there's places, it'll work. And I reached out to a lot of people that we've had on. We've had a lot of promoters on and they were all instantly on board with it for the most part, because I mean, if you're essentially paying for a match, like, and you can put decent names on a card, why not have, a free, cool match with high profile names on it? But like you said, sometimes you don't like the look of that. And I think it's all in how you want to promote your show. And I mean, I can't be like, well, you're dumb because you don't like my idea. It's, you have your own move and you're doing your thing. So like, I don't totally run enough
for that. Maybe if it was like I was running more often and I would be able to, or even running where I was local to you. It's like, oh, sometimes they hit the Ohio Midwest area a couple times a year. Then it would make more sense to me, than for, pulling, me popping that title match on one of my shows. My fan base would kind of just be like, from what now? You know?
Yeah. What's this? Why is this here? Like, this is not what we paid for. I got it.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things.
We can't have Mittens giving us trouble when we walk into the place. We don't need that shit.
Yeah, they'll shake
Have
you
Mittens
down.
talking
They'll
all
shake
that
you
shit.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even going to bullshit with the story. When I took my kid to WrestleMania, we're outside waiting for night 2, and I'm talking to a guy who's talking, and the security guard talking to us, and they're both like, "Oh yeah, Mitten, we love Mitten. Mitten's
Oh,
great."
God damn
I
it.
have no idea who the fucking guy giving word. Oh yeah, Mitten's great.
If my daughter knows and is just irritated with him, you know it can't be good at this point. It's just enough of it. Well, all right. So we went long, and Struggs, we appreciate it. Now it's your chance, if you can, for us just to hype up Sunday, because I'm going to be there with you, and we'll be hyping that and everything else. So give us one last push so people can watch on IWTV.
Yeah, this Sunday, December 1st, live from the Mecca, Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Our year 3 celebration event called Dial It Up. And we got 7 matches. Obviously, the main event being our ETU Key to the East champion, Marcus Mathers, defending against the extra hated Brandon Kirk. Nobody likes him. What else? We got Mike Santana against Desmond Cole, the Killionaires against Contra. That's the duo of Jinai Kai and Akira Kwan. You know, seen them popping up in MLW. We also got Becca versus Rachel Armstrong, Braden Toon versus Yoya in a loser leaves ETU match. These guys been going back and forth for, I guess, like a year. They really hate each other. So we're going to let them kind of air it all out. And what else we got? I talked about the 4-corner survival match. Gabriel Sky against Seabass Finn, against Aaron Rourke, against Hardway Sam Holloway. And I'm probably leaving something else out. I can't think of it. What else?
I hope you enjoy the unemployment line, you mouthy motherfucker.
Oh, damn.
I hope he goes
I have
with
to ask
Lewis.
the question: when we see loser leave ETU for how long? It's nothing's forever in wrestling.
I don't know.
I hope Lewis has to go with him. I hope that's part of it.
And the other match was Matt Makowski against
Joseph Alexander.
Joseph Alexander. Yeah.
Any other surprises for the fans who are going to be there? Should I just wait for that too, or is there any matches that I don't know about on there?
No, that's
okay.
it.
Okay, good.
That's what we got.
I hate being lectured online, seeing people go, there shouldn't be any dark matches on an indie show. Well, if it's streaming, you could still do a dark match to get people revved up. For
me, I've been leaning, and Andrew has been saying we should do like a pre-show match or something like that. And I didn't really see the value in it until he was like, we'll make sure that the cameras are situated, make sure that the commentary levels are good, make sure that the graphics are coming up, the lights look good, any tweaks like that. And it also, it's a quick little, maybe 5 to 8 minute match that gets the crowd primed. And if they're not in their seats, they should get to their seats, you know?
Yep.
So,
dude, there was a
something you can release at a later date too. You could throw it out there on YouTube for free.
Yeah, there was a match at Capital Wrestling in 2016-17, a dark match. It was one of the Young, Dumb, and Broke guys at the time versus a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuffed animal. And I still have it, the video on my phone and the pictures. And I'm telling you, dude, it wasn't bad. The match wasn't bad. I'm trying to remember who it was.
Was it Charlie Tiger?
It could have been Charlie Tiger,
McCoy, or Jordan Oliver.
No, it could have been Charlie Tiger. I'm almost positive it was him wrestling in that match, but I'll find those pictures
makes
for you.
Sense, right?
Yeah, but that was the dark match, and there was only like 7 people there, but still, I popped. I was doing whatever. So, shit. Anyway, all right. So we got that plugged down. You want to plug your socials or anything?
I mean, just go follow ETU Wrestling on all social media. Obviously, you can watch the shows live on IWTV Live. You can follow me at The Struggles on Instagram, at The Struggles 23 on Twitter, X, or whatever it's called. And that's about it. I got a bunch of shit that I still got to do for this show because, I still make all the graphics and I still do all this stuff. So Got a couple late nights, but I'm ready to go, man. I'm excited. I'm very 3 years kind of went by in a flash. It would be my 14th show, and it's crazy. I have a poster on the wall right here from the first one, and it's doesn't feel like that it's been 3 years. I'm looking at this poster and seeing if anybody on this poster is booked on this show, and they aren't. But I will say Marcus has been on every show, all 14. Nobody else has been on all 14 but the kid.
Amazing.
And you sent me this photo. God bless. Let's see it. Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
I don't know if that's true. That might have been Kobe. Who is it?
It's Ellis Taylor.
Oh, okay. Wrestling a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. In case, guys, I'll send it to you though later. But yeah,
he's got a hell of a
he's wrestling a turtle right there.
Yeah. Wow.
But I'll send you guys the picture.
That venue's like in Jersey?
No, it's in Hoboken. It's a secondary school.
Brother, that is New Jersey.
Oh yeah. It's a secondary school.
Even I know that motherfucker.
Come on,
dude.
Hoboken, no joking.
Let me tell you something. They had Casanova Valentine versus Homicide in a match with no weapons because they weren't allowed in the school.
God bless.
Imagine a straight up wrestling match between Casanova Valentine and yeah.
No, I don't imagine that.
I have pictures of that too. I sat through all of them. Let me tell you. I have been through a ringer as far as all those shows go. Oh man. Anyway, all right, JHawk, lay down some plugs before we say goodbye.
Find me on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at RefJHawk. The Blue Sky gimmick at refjhawk.bluesky.social. I have no shows until January unless something changes. So it's gonna be a weird December for me. Like literally everywhere I could potentially run takes December off. So
yeah, that's Charly_Butters for me. Nothing really going on as far as us promoting. Like I'll have that tag match to put out probably in a couple weeks before Christmas. The Respectful Hogs are coming back in a couple weeks.
Yes.
I think we're going to change some categories up. Might have a little bit different this year. We got to have certain guests on. I did talk to Matt the Mouth. He wants to come back on before the end of the season, so a review might get changed to an interview next month. So this may not be our last interview of the season. We might have one more. Matt the Mouth, of course, the promoter of Action Wrestling down in Georgia. And he was also an extra on that show from Stars called Heels that I love so much. And he has a bunch of stories from that. So I'm just going to want him to regale us with all those stories. So
awesome. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at jgold12. Listen to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to us on our Twitter handle at IWGuide1 and our patreon.com/IWGuide. Don't forget about the merch store over at Bankbuster Tees and Gorilla Press Apparel. Use code IWGP24 at checkout when you buy 2 or more items for $20 off your entire order. Our podcast friends, the Main Event Wrestling Network. If you want to go back and watch me on my YouTube debut on the Main Event Mixer, there were already like 3 more mixers ahead all of a sudden. So Wrestling Junkies and On the Mark podcast. The guys are great. Go check out all their shows. At Odds with Wrestling, The Card is Going to Change, Super Fantastic Podcast, Marks with Mikes, and Hayabusa Speed. Check out OKCR Creations, the official graphic designer of the Indie Wrestling Guide. Magnum CKs, now that's what I call wrestling. Time Capsule Toys, Toy Ohio, Rubber City Toys, Big Starks brand, Women's Wrestling Watch of Northeast Ohio, the aforementioned Gorilla Press Apparel, and Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, the best barbecue in Ohio. That's all I got. Struggles, thanks so much, man. It's great talking to you and hearing all your stories. Butters?
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. I've known of you and listened to you for a really long time, so it's really cool to finally actually get to sit and chat with you for a little bit and
awesome.
Learn from you. So
happy to do it anytime. I got so many silly stories that I'm always down to pop back on whenever you need somebody to just talk some shit. I don't have to be promoting anything, but
nice.
Happy to do it and can't wait to maybe not stressfully run a wrestling show on Sunday.
We'll see you on Sunday.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll definitely get you back on. It's been a lot of fun. We were trying to focus mostly on the show, so we definitely want to talk about other shit with you. So
yeah, for sure.
Always. As always, life's short. Watch more indie wrestling.
See you.
Don't forget to review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Find us online at Facebook and Instagram at the Indie Wrestling Guide. And on X or Twitter at IWGuide1.